Okay, let's talk about this other story. And I know that everyone's got thoughts, so here we go. Report saying the IRS now considering...
I have to go to the bathroom. I'll be back.
Considering...
I have to leave the set.
Yeah, here we go. Kelly and I can talk about it. We probably have a lot of...
Kelly will take...
Listen.
I'm actually very curious where everything lands.
Elise, are you back there? Stefanik, can you...
Let's just tell the audience, for those who are just waking up trying to figure out what's going on, let's just explain what's going on. So the IRS is now considering revoking Harvard University's tax-exempt status. This follows a post on Truth Social from President Trump on Tuesday, who floated that idea. This after Harvard rejected what it called an unlawful demand from the White House to overhaul its academic programs or lose federal grants. So the Trump administration threatened the university and actually other universities as well with funding cuts over pro-Palestine campus protests and threats to Jewish students that erupted following Hamas's 2023 attack on Israel and Israel's military response. As of now, there's apparently been no formal request yet for the IRS to change Harvard's tax status. But late last night, the White House Deputy Press Secretary said any forthcoming actions by the IRS will be conducted independently of the president, and investigations into any institution's violations of its tax status were initiated prior to the president's Truth Social post. Just for context, it is illegal. It is a criminal penalty, with criminal penalties, for the president or anybody in the administration to direct or indirectly suggest, not just suggest, but effectively create an investigation or go after a company via the IRS. It is illegal. There are laws on the books.
Oh my God! And you don't remember
about this.
You don't remember Obamagate.
I understand your perspective on
every single company that had Patriot in its name got audited by Louise Lasser, or whatever her name was. Nothing happened.
I understand.
So we're being consistent again. Now you have a problem with it again.
You've told me.
What if it's not explicitly directed? And to the point about what happens if the IRS.
Do you not think?
Why was it okay back then?
Explicit?
When it was Democrats doing it, why was it okay back then?
Okay, it's not okay. And my question, it's not okay.
Okay.
We are in agreement. It is not okay.
Okay.
But if you don't look at this in some semblance and say, this is what they call lawfare, which I was told during the campaign repeatedly, this is the Trump campaign, that they were trying to get rid of lawfare.
Right.
And you don't look at what's going on and think this is like lawfare on steroids, I don't know what to say. It is. It's empirical. It's in front of your eyes. You can watch it.
I thought yesterday you walked away from that conversation with Stefanik totally converted, because she seemed to just answer every one of your concerns. I thought you totally were on board with what was happening after yesterday, because she was so effective in countering all of your arguments.
By the way,
a changed man.
I like her. I don't dislike her. By the way, I can have a great conversation with President Trump. I think he's charming, and I've had fascinating discussions with him.
I thought you were going, geez, I've been wrong.
No. I didn't.
That wasn't what happened. You basically said that at the end.
No, what I've said over and over, especially with the Harvard situation, is that the anti-Semitism piece of this on Harvard campus is terrible.
Right.
Violence is terrible. We need to get rid of that. We can't have disruptions of class. People can't feel intimidated. All of those things we need to end. There's no question about that. And if the government wants to work with Harvard and press them on that specific slice of it, they should be. And they should use their leverage in that way. I don't know if they should use the IRS leverage in that way.
Should the IRS itself be able to consider the tax-exempt status?
Well, unless you think that then we're going to have to do this you want to do this to every college and university in the country. I mean, I just think what's happened.
Have these issues?
But here's the issue. In this case, what's happened is the government came to Harvard and said, we have this 5-page letter. You've seen the letter. You can go get it online. You can Google it right now. And you can see what the government is effectively requiring of Harvard. It goes far beyond simply the anti-Semitism issue.
But
and
it implies
violence on
all
campus.
The programming that it thinks are contributing to the anti-Semitism.
But it gets into a free speech story. That's to me the issue.
Is there free speech? It's all about the government funding piece of this, right? A private institution
can do whatever
can do
they
what
want.
It wants. It's only if they
can
accept
say whatever they want.
funding.
No one's taking away their.
Well, no, the IRS now is going to take away their tax status as well.
Right, but that's still not taking away the First Amendment.
doesn't take away their First Amendment, but this is how. But this is
Can
how.
I ask you, with
this is how
$55 billion
This is how
in
you
the
see the
endowment,
government using the
why
leverage.
are you crying the blues when they? What do they spend that money on? $55 billion. There are people that say this is a hedge fund that has a college just so it can keep its tax-exempt status. That's all Harvard is. It's like a hedge fund that happens to have a school attached to it.
Well, first of all, that's a terribly disparaging remark because that would suggest that money is somehow.
What do they use it for?
No, is somehow they're profiteering.
But your
off of
description
this
was
status and some
influence peddling. So, meaning whatever the mission of the enterprise is, whether it's selling influence or if they have a successful trading arm.
When we keep giving all these grants, it just. You get inflation. Suddenly, the colleges don't need this money. In student loans, everyone gets those. No one wants to pay them back. That's why we have this horrible
inflation. If you want to have a conversation about whether the government should be providing either student loans or you think the government should be providing grants to universities for science. And by the way, at MIT as well, and all of these universities. If you think that we should be out of that business, and maybe Doge thinks that, I don't know.
They don't have to be.
We can have that conversation. I don't think that's a great idea.
Hire one conservative at Harvard. That's all you got to do.
There was a letter from Ways and Means Chair Smith last year before the election where he says, tax-exempt status is a privilege and not a right. In exchange, organizations must operate for stated exempt purposes. And they outline the same concerns that we've heard from the Trump administration. But meaning this predates, Jan 20. There have been people raising concerns about whether they're using that status for stated purposes or for more nefarious ones that would violate the spirit of their tax-exempt status. So it's not just a Trump thing.
I just think that then I'm just suggesting to you.
I don't really
there are organizations that are that have not-for-profit status all over this country. Some of which, by the way, have a conservative bent, and others that may have a liberal bent. There are theater organizations. There are new enterprise organizations. There are all sorts of not-for-profits. And if you want to change not-for-profits across the country, go with God and do it. But to target ones this way, I think goes to this sort of lawfare situation.
Yeah, but when you said this is against a criminal threat, you once told me that the governor, Hochul here, that they were going after a criminal indictment of her on fraud. That was absolutely not true at the time.
They were going after
civil, and it wasn't her. It was her administration writ large. But
all I'm suggesting to you,
this is criminal if the Trump administration says that. No one did any time when Obama did it.
Nobody did, and maybe they should.
Now
maybe they should.
Okay, and you wish we looked at the laptop, and you wish we said Biden was senile, but you didn't. See you later. Thank you. We're going to press.